concept of dance.
Hello, my name is Alice, and I'm happy that you are watching the pilot episode of our new project, OpenJDK Talks in Liberica Bar. Today we'll discuss the hottest topic of IT industry, the release of Java 14. And Dmitry Chuykov from BellSoft company will help us with it. By the way, BellSoft releases and support Liberica JDK, verified by TCK for Java SE standard compliance. BellSoft is one of the top 5 OpenJDK contributors. So, hi Dmitry.
It's good to be in a bar today.
So, what is the new features of Java 14?
Well, formally there are numerous. It's better to check blog while you're still watching the video. We can just touch some ones that maybe not top discussed ones, but something that we touched as engineers. Like immediately, then I look at the list, I see JFR streaming, which is very cool for everyone who does profiling, kind of diagnostics in your application, so you can now use JFR API and stream your events wherever you want to, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I immediately remember, now we talk about JDK 14, but I remember when JFR was introduced in the times of JDK 8, was very nice just 6 years ago, and JDK 8 is still around. It's very interesting because it's now in JDK 8 UDEV, not in this update, but maybe in some upcoming updates of vanilla OpenJDK distributions like Liberica, you'll find that. And also some other features introduced at that times currently play a role, like not something that was introduced in this release, but still what we talk about is like application class data sharing and ahead-of-time compilation that people use for containers nowadays. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of new things to do with functionality that is quite mature. And if we talk about different other features, this is again huge community effort. I mean, JDK release, all companies that distribute binaries do a lot of testing, and a lot of development precedes that. Like, of course, Oracle does majority of the job, but the community is very strong, and there are a lot of enterprise contributors and also individual contributors whom you can see in commit messages as offers. And if I talk about some other features, we may see how direction of development of JDK changes over the time. Like the constant direction is like you have to support new hardware, new ways of computing, and to rethink how your code works on new hardware. Sometimes it's just APIs. APIs are interesting. So like, for example, such thing as non-volatile memory is now supported in OpenJDK. It's supported in Linux kernels, and you can create made-by buffers addressing that non-volatile memory. And we participated in reviewing this feature that was really tricky. And now you can really buy interesting and powerful hardware where, for example, with non-volatile memory, you can have persistent memory which is just times slower than your RAM, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Or you can use new CPUs. You can try cloud instances with ARM processors. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about it for past few years, and now you can see Ampere, Marvell, and Amazon releasing that machines. That's the directions. If we talk about different other APIs, for example, some complex good sugaring, like pattern matching, switch expressions, the work that has been done in 12, 13, 14. This is also a gift for developers who code and a community effort, because a lot of discussions happened in mailing lists, and you can now download and use IDE that supports all that recent features. You can download IntelliJ IDEA and get support out of the box. So about some other things, I would say it's now an interesting time when you can mix programs easily in different languages. So I talk about text blocks. Surprisingly, the most frequent example of using text blocks is HTML, which is also a language. So we mix HTML and Java, but what we had fun with is that we mix shaders for your graphic cards with Java code, and use, for example, JOpenSale or JCUDA to convert the text blocks into something that executes on your GPU.
Oh, that's cool. What about some other features?
Again, something maybe not so popular, like Jpackage, for example. A tool with a long history, but the trick here is that every new tool has to be supported on different platforms, and sometimes it's not so obvious how to make it. So even if the development has started, like we started to try and test it on platforms that are non-x86, and it was fun. It required some change. So again, you will find a lot of quite fluent examples and technical details for all the features. I don't think we should highlight examples here. We'll mention something that's not so common.
Well, that's a nice review, I think. But what do you think? What the new features will be in Java 15?
15.
The next version.
It's a good question. Like just today or yesterday, Vector API has been proposed to target or targeted to 15. So Vector API that will add some testing for us, for example, for like regular testing that we do for releases, and it will add, but it will give powerful tools to hands of developers, both developers of core libraries, but also probably just developers who code some business logic. It will be interesting to see.
Yeah. Really. And what is the date of the next release?
We have quarterly releases, so for updates, and 6 months cadence for major releases. So expect it in 6 months. One more interesting feature that can happen in next release, or at least we are going to move and push that thing, is support for small containers, which is currently implemented in Project Portola in a separate repo. So we use that. So the effort is to integrate that into mainline.
And as far as I know, the BellSoft is hard working with containers. Could you please tell us about it more?
Yeah, so this is one of our primary goals, to support good container images where your OS layer and Java are tested. So for that, for operating systems that are used as OS layer and that containers, we perform special testing default testing process like TCK and other tests. And we release them quite early. So then we release first binaries with newer JDK, like JDK 14. Containers are released immediately. So it is important.
Yes, that's cool. So, in the beginning of our discussion, our bar talks, We talked about the questions from our subscribers and followers from Twitter.
Okay.
So let's see some of these questions. So the first one is, what is the difference between Java and Liberica?
Okay. Simple answer is like they are different trademarks.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Java is a trademark that Oracle owns, and Liberica is BellSoft's trademark. So, and this trademark, Java, is applied in names of different technologies and things in general, like specifications. So there are specifications for Java runtime and language, and then you conform to that specification. You don't call yourself Java, but you're Java kind of conformant. So, for example, then we pass TCK, they ensure exactly that, so that they conform those specifications.
I got it. So, but some of our subscribers don't believe that the BellSoft is OpenJDK contributor. How can you prove it?
Well, it's very easy to check. You can just take a log of our source control system, Mercurial, to see log and to see who contributes. It's very easy. The simplest way is just to sort commits by email of author or contributor, because not everyone have author status in OpenJDK, but also we have some contributions to non-Bell SW email, but anyway, people who count that know that, and you can regularly see statistics of both upstream contributions for every release from Oracle, and also for backports, which is also a big part of work.
One more question about proving. How can you prove that Liberica Support solves global bugs in Java?
Okay, that's a tricky question. I don't think it's a completely right question, because, well, that's not the goal of the support. The support is solving customer cases when something doesn't work or crashes. Sometimes it requires fixing bug in OpenJDK, but that's not surprisingly the majority of cases. And you can just look at contributions and see what was changed, and it all has been changed globally, because all bugs in OpenJDK that are public, that have public fixes, there's nothing hidden.
And what is the best part of support in BellSoft?
Wow. The best part is, from my perspective, if I would be a customer, immediately getting help. We feel that it's the right thing, just to start immediately.
What do you mean?
So
about immediately?
In support contracts there are some SLAs, and that thing really works.
And what's about engineers? As far as I know, a lot of companies have just project managers talking with the customers, but...
Yeah, you work with real hotspot engineers. And you either get your configuration fixed to have better performance, or to avoid or bypass some bugs, or you have your bug fixed.
Well, I think that's cool, because customers just can talk with other engineers and solve their problems as soon as possible. And
also a major part is that that fix appears in OpenJDK, so you don't have dependency on a single company, so you can switch JDK if you need, or just stop buying that support. That's sometimes that makes people less scary.
Let's see on the last question. Who is the auditor of your code?
Oh, that's funny. Well, you can be one. You can just go to GitHub or go to OpenJDK and Mercurial and check what happens there. So many people tries different tools or something else. There are some basic checks when you commit stuff. But before that, there's a process of reviewing changes. So every change that goes to OpenJDK has been reviewed very carefully, I would say. So community makes audit, but that's not like nobody does it. Really many people do.
Okay, that's cool. So we have some more questions, but I think that we can answer them in our next episode. Thank you for this interview in our bar. So thank you for watching us. If you like our pilot episode, like, subscribe and share, and download Java 14 of course from our site. The link is in the profile. See you next time. Bye.